Hello everyone, I'm Siddharthan. Currently, we are in the second module of our deep learning course where we are discussing about the mathematics for deep learning. And in this math module, first we have discussed about linear algebra. In that, we have discussed about matrices and vectors. And the second topic that we have moved on is statistics. So, in statistics, we are discussing about various topics and how they are like helpful in deep learning. And in that order, the current topic that we are going to discuss today is central tendencies. Central tendencies constitute the values such as mean, median, and mode. So first, let's try to understand what is meant by the central tendency and what is meant by these three individual values. Let's say a mean, median, and mode, and how these are exactly used in the field of, let's say, a machine learning, deep learning, or data science. So this will be the agenda for today's video, and let's get started. So first let's understand about central tendency. So this is the definition for central tendency. Central tendency measures are statistical tools that represents a dataset with a single value that is considered the center point or typical value. So this is the formal definition and let's try to understand this. So let's say that you have a sample data set. So you probably would have worked on the diabetes prediction data set that we often use, and it has columns like pregnancies, BP, age, and so on. Let's say that you want to understand the nature of this data, so you take this age column and try to find a value that could represent the age column. So in that case, you can take the average of that age column. Let's say the average age is 50. That means like this data set kind of as data points or people who have age values that are like around 50, or most people are kind of around this particular age. So this single value of 50 in this case kind of tells you an idea or the nature of this data set, right? So this is an example of a central tendency. So now you can look at the definition again, and it says that it represents a data with a single value that is considered the center point or typical value. So that's about the central tendency, which is all about finding those specific values that kind of holds key information about the data set. And when we talk about central tendency, there are these three measures that we talk about. So these are like mode, median, and mean. Mode is nothing but it's like kind of the most occurring values. Let's say that you have mm, a set of numbers like 1 2 3 4 5, some set of numbers. Mode is basically the number that is like the most repeated number. So that's what your mode is. Let's say that you have set of five a set of 10 numbers, and the number 3 is repeated 5 times, and other numbers are not like repeated that many times. So in that case, your mode is the number 3, right? And then we have median, which is like the central value, and mean is like the average. So you add all those numbers divided by the total number of values and you would get a mean. These are like simple stuff, but let's try to understand this in detail. Try to understand if there are any formulas. Let's try to understand that, and also the main emphasis that will be in this video is how they are used in deep learning or machine learning to say, right? So we would use this in several places, not explicitly, but it's better to understand about these metrics like in detail. And importance in statistics, like what's the importance of these values in statistics? So these measures help summarize data and reveal patterns essential in machine learning and data science. So this is about it. So these values may look simple to you. You can say that what am I going to gain from this? It's just like an average value, a central value, and mode value, but that's not the case. It would give you like a lot of insights. So let's say that in the case of diabetes itself, you can find like the people who are diabetic, you can find like what's the average value is. You can also find like what's the average value of some other column like BP or something, so that you know that when we are trying to find whether a person is diabetic, let's say that if the person is male and if their BP is, average BP is this thing, their insulin value is something like that. So you can kind of look at all those values and try to understand like how these are correlated. So this is going to be helpful when you look at the other variables that could constitute to your target variable. So that's one such example. And median is also like really helpful in the places when you want to uh, you know you have outlays in your data and you don't want to work with them, so you can like replace those values with this median value and so on. So we will discuss about all these things, but the main takeaway is that these central tendency measures as like two main advantages. One is in understanding the data itself, in understanding the key characteristics of the data, and also it's going to be helpful in data pre-processing as well. So that's like an overview of this. So now let's try to go in detail about each of these metrics and try to understand them better. So first, let's start with mean measure, which is also called as average, which is something that everyone of us would have already, studied, or we already would know this. So the mean is the sum of all values divided by the number of values. Definition is like pretty straightforward. So if you have 10 numbers, you add all those 10 numbers and you divide it by 10. So it's basically sum of all the numbers divided by the total number of numbers that's present in it. So this is the formula. So we have summation of x divided by n. So if there are like again 10 or 20 numbers, whatever it is, we would like do the summation of all those numbers and divide it by n, where in this case n is nothing but the total number of values. So if you consider a data set example, right? So let's say that we have these six numbers. We have 4, 8, 6, 5, 3, and 7. And if you add all these things, and here we are dividing it by 6 because we have six numbers, and you would get the mean value as 5.5. And the thing about 5.5 is you can say that this is the average value of this data set, right? So you can say that most values in this data set are kind of around this number or in this particular range. So that's how we can define this mean. So in this data set, you can say that 5.5 is kind of a representation number to understand how the data is distributed, kind of that way, not distributed, but just to understand like the average. And use cases where it is used, I've just like given like very few examples. So mean is used in calculating loss functions like mean squared error. So this is something that we often work with even in deep learning models and so on, and also in the in the case of evaluations of models and the evaluation of regression models and so on. So we have a concept of this mean squared error where we try to find the error, in this case the squared error, which is the difference between you know the actual value and the prediction. So you take the squares of those errors and find the mean. So let's say that you have 10 prediction and you find the squared error of all those 10 values. Now you divide it by the total number of values, which is 10 in this case. So mean squared error is nothing but the mean of the squared errors or the average value of the squared error. So that is something you would have already used this, but we wouldn't probably like explicitly like thought about it, right? But that's one example where it's kind of used often. So mean squared error is like kind of the loss function or the evaluation metric we often use, and that's one place you can think about where mean is used. And the other use case for this mean is data imputation. Data imputation is basically when let's say that you have a data set that has like 10 columns, and one of the column is let's say age, and uh, this particular data set has let's say 500 rows. So it has 10 columns and 500 rows, and in this age column, let's say that 50 values are missing. One thing that you can do is, you know that we cannot send data to the machine learning model or a deep learning model with missing values in it. So we try to drop those rows that has missing values, or we try to change those values. So that's what we call as imputation, where we are going to impute the missing value some with some number. So mean is like a very good measure that we can use, where these missing values can be replaced with the mean value. So in this case, we are imputing the data, we are imputing those missing values with the mean value, because again of course we are going to lose some information, like something can be off because we are replacing some values, but it's like a good option to replace that mean value, because here we are considering the other 450 values and trying to find a mean. So it would be like along those same data set, so the values that we impute won't be like too far away or like too different from what's values already present there. So it's like a good measure that we can use. So these are like some of the applications or the use cases of mean. And the other metric that we are going to discuss about is a median, and this is another interesting metric, and it also has like unique characteristics and uses that we have. So the median is the middle value when the data set is arranged in ascending order. So think about this. Median is nothing but just the center value. So you have like let's say five numbers, and you arrange those numbers in ascending order. Now your third number is your middle number, right? So on the left you have 1 and 2, on the right you have 4 and 5. So 3 is your central number, and this 3 is your median value. So median is all about not just the center value, but you have to arrange the values. You have to sort the values in, let's say, in ascending order, then pick the middle value. Let's understand this with an example, and there comes another confusion on what if there are even number of values. So let's consider this place where here we have seven numbers, right? So we have the values as 1, 3, 3, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So the center number is 6, the fourth number, right? So you have three numbers on the left side, you have three numbers on the right side. So the fourth number is 6, so your median value is 6. And as you can see, the values are already arranged in ascending order. If they are not in ascending order, you first have to arrange them in ascending order and then like pick the center value. But what if there are even number of values? So in this case, we have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 values are there, right? But in an even number, how you would pick a central number? So that's not possible, right? So what we do is we pick like two center numbers. So here we have three numbers on the left side and we have three numbers on the right side. So you kind of select the two central numbers, which is 4 and 5 in this case, and then find the average. So you add these two numbers divided by 2 because the total number is 2. This is just like finding the mean of those two central numbers. So you add 4 and 5 and you divide it by 2 and you would get the value, in this case is 9 divided by 2, which is 4.5. So whenever there are like odd number of values, you just take the central value as median. When there are like even number of values, you take two central values and just divide by 2 and you would get the median. So this is about it. So when we talk about the use case of median is right, so it is also kind of used in data imputation. And the problem with using mean is, again, mean is also used, but there are some limitations. So the limitation of imputing the missing values with mean is that when your data set has like outliers, mean is like heavily affected by the outliers. So it wouldn't give like you the actual mean or like the proper representation of the data because it's affected by the outliers. When I say affected by the outlier, means like let's say think about this example. There are like 10 people in a group, and two people in that group are, let's say, Bill Gates and Elon Musk. Or let's say there are like 100 people in a group and two of them are Elon Musk and Bill Gates, and you try to find the average salary or the average amount of money a person is going to make. Now, if you find the average salary, because Elon Musk and Bill Gates would have like make huge amount of money compared to, let's say, the other 98 people in general. So we know that in general, like the other may kind of make far less compared to them. But when you kind of try to find the mean of this group of 100 people, the average value will be too high because of the higher values or the higher values of salaries or the money Elon Musk and Bill Gates is going to make. So this is why mean is affected by outliers, because when you try to find the mean, all the values are considered, including the outliers, and outliers can affect the mean in a larger way. But when you have this median, right, so you arrange this in ascending order. So the last two outliers, or let's say the salary or the money that Bill Gates and Elon Musk is going to make, would be towards the end. But median just takes the center value, right? So that would be a good representation. So whenever you are a column in your data set as outliers and you want to impute the values, in those cases median is a good metric, because median is not affected by outlier in most cases, because the outliers would come either on the right side or on the left side. So we would focus on the central value and we would get a very good measure or the very good representation. So that's where, like, when you're sure that you don't have any outliers in a column, you can use mean as your imputation. But when there are outliers, mean is a good option. So that's what I've given here as well. So in skewed data, median is used to better capture the center tendency and minimize the impact of outliers when training models. Skew data is like just a representation of this. This means that most of the data is like kind of in this particular region. There are very few amount of data that's towards this right side. So basically the distribution is like kind of thin around this particular part. But when you're considering a mean value, all these values are considered to calculate that mean. You can think about this right side as like all those, let's say, Elon Musk or a Bill Gates, and let's say that we are uh, having this y-axis in the salary or something like that. Let's say that this x-axis represents salaries, and this is the top high-end amount of salaries, and we have like very few people here. But when you take a mean, the mean is affected by those end values as well. But when you take a median, it's not affected by those end values. So that's how you can think about it. So both median and mean are used for data imputation, but the problem is mean is affected by outlays. So when you know that your column has outlays, you can just go with median for your imputation. Otherwise you can use mean. So this is like the main application of median, mainly in the uh, data imputation part. And then we have the third metric, which is mode, and this is like a very simple metric. So the mode is the value that appears most frequently in the dataset. In simple words, it's the most repeated value. So how to identify a mode? So list the frequency of each value. List the frequency of each value means list how many times unique values have been appeared. Let's say that we have values from 1 to 10, and one is appeared one time, two is appeared 10 times, three is appeared like five times, and so on. So that's what we mean by saying is the frequency of each value, basically how many times each value has appeared. And mode is the value with the high frequency. So in simple words, you take a data set, try to see which value has appeared most number of times or which value is repeated most number of time, and that's going to be your mode. And if you consider this example, this particular data set, we have 2, 4, 4, 6, 6, 6, and 8. So in this case, 2 has appeared one time, 4 as the number 4 appeared two times, and 6 appeared three times, and 8 one time. So the most repeated value in this case is 6, which appeared three times, and you say that the mode value was 6. So that's how you can identify that. And where this mode value is used, again, this is used in the data imputation, but in the case of categorical variables. So replacing missing values with mode is not ideal when it's a numerical column. So we know that we have two set of columns, right? We have numerical column and then you have categorical columns. Numerical columns are like, let's say, the continuous numbers. So you have age of a person, weight of a person, something like that. So those are numerical values, but these are categorical values, are the ones that fall into category. Let's say male and female, and something like that, or a person is diabetic or non diabetic. These are categorical columns. And in the case of categorical columns, you cannot replace with mean or median, right? So you cannot find a median for a categorical column. It's either going to be 0 1, or it can have multiple categories as well, but you cannot find a proper mean or median in it. So mode is the better metric to replace that, where you just take the maximum appeared category and replace it with the missing value. So that's like one place where we can use this mode. So these are the three things about this three central tendency values, and the final thing is just like a comparison of these three things. And you have this mean value that's affected by outliers, and this is because it uses all data points for its calculation, right? So it would add all those numbers and divide by the total number of values, and just because we are considering all the values, outliers is going to have a huge effect on that. So we have to be certain, or we have to be conscious on using mean, because outliers could affect this. So wherever outliers are there, we tend not to use mean value. And about median, it's an excellent metric, but it is not affected by outliers, because we are focusing on the central values, and outliers often tend to move around the right extreme and left extreme, right? Because outliers is basically, it lies out of that particular main range. So median is not affected, as we are focused on the central value in it. And then we have this mode is again best used for categorical data and identifies the most common value. So whenever you want to focus on trying to find the most repeated values, you can use that. And for data imputation of categorical values, you can also use that. So yeah, this is just a simple graph that explain you where your median, mode, and mean would kind of look like. We have this concept of distribution and so on, and you can also identify the distribution based on the mean and median value. So we will discuss about all those things later. So in the later video, we will also discuss about this distribution and skewness, and we can identify that clearly using this mean, median values, and so on. So let's get to this later, but these are the things that I wanted to discuss in today's video. So center tendency is nothing but it's kind of a representation for your data. So if you take a particular column, you can understand like where that central value lies and so on. And it's, of course, it has the applications, like if you talk about mean, it's used in mean squared error, and it's also used in the case of if you're using this data standardization and so on. We know that when you standardize the data, we want this mean to be a particular value. Let's get to this later when we discuss about standard deviation, because uh, the data standardization, the normalization standardization thing. So standardization depends on standard deviation and mean as well. So that's another application of mean, but let's get to that later. But these are some of the applications. So you have mean squared error, you have a data standardization where mean is widely used. Of course, we have the data imputation techniques and so on. So these are some of the applications, and I hope that you kind of get a clear idea about this. In the next video, let's just do a short exercise on, like, how you would calculate the mean, median, and the mode values in Python. So you can use some libraries to do this calculation. Also take a very simple sample data set and try to find these values, and see like how we can use this. Let's say that you have missing values in a column. Let's see how we can replace those missing values with, let's say, mean, median, or mode. So I hope everyone is clear until this part, and I'll see you in the next upload. Thanks for watching.